Hi, welcome to Esther's Laguna Woods Show, where every guest matters. Today we have a very special guest. He's an actor, and his name is Craig Littler. And this is part 2 of the interview. Hi, Craig.
Hi, good to see you again, Esther.
So nice to have you.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be back.
You made so many famous movies and so many famous TV shows. How old were you when you came to Hollywood?
I was, 66. I was 25.
Uh-huh.
25. So I'd been in New York, as we talked about last time, for
Yes.
5 years, and then I got to Hollywood 66. So I was 25, and
So how long did it take you to get your first acting job?
it took about, I think about 6-9 months. I was working parking cars at the Brown Derby, and I don't know if I told you about that last time, but I
Yes.
was doing just odd jobs and
Yes.
auditioning, and
Yeah.
I saw in a Hollywood paper, the Hollywood Reporter, this show was they had auditions for this play called The Fantastics. I was just talking to you
Yes,
about.
yes.
And I saw it was Phil Gallo, the lead, which had just come out of New York, and it was now running in Hollywood, and it had been running, and the guy was leaving.
Yeah.
So I went to replace him as El Gallo, and I got the job, it turns out, and I was working in a gas station at the time.
Yes.
So I went on and did the show, and I did it for about a year.
Yeah.
And at the end of that year, a big producer came, and I don't know if I told you about that last time, Robert Fryer, Car and Harris, they were big Broadway producers.
Yeah.
He came and saw the show, and he said, I think you're going to make it, I think you'll do well, and I'd like to get you some help. And I had, good reviews and everything, so the show was quite successful. And so it went on from there. And then as a result of that, I met a lady at Paramount Pictures, and she was Joyce Selznick, who was David O. Selznick's niece.
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind. She was the head of talent.
Yeah.
She put me under contract to Paramount Pictures.
How long did it take you to actually get a part in a movie or a TV show?
Right after that, I think I went under contract. So now it was about 68, I think, early 68. When I went under contract, they started offering me things like Mannix, the TV series, More Dead Than Alive, things like that, and Buckskin with Barry Sullivan, Lon Chaney Jr., Wendell Corey, all those old stars.
Yeah.
I did that with them. I starred in that with them, and I did the Mannix, and I did Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
During that contract period, which of course
that's a big movie.
everyone knows.
Yes.
Rosemary's Baby is a famous film with Mia Farrow and of course Roman Polanski directing, and that wasn't a big thing for me. It was just ended up being a big Academy Award type movie.
Yes.
But I had a small role in it, really. But I was a contract player. I mean, I wasn't a celebrity at that point. I was browsing around with all of them at Paramount Pictures, like Clint Eastwood and Danny Thomas and Lucille Ball, and I was hobnobbing with all these people. It was great. I mean, I was a kid. I was in my late 20s. So a lot of fun. But that started my film and TV career, TV episodic career.
How many auditions did you have to go to get one good part? I mean,
A lot.
A lot.
I'll give you an example. I mean, most of your audience probably worked in in industry, some industry or some whatever, and they would have 1 or 2 jobs their whole life.
Yes.
Well, I auditioned every week, maybe a dozen times. So I probably had thousands of interviews for job interviews, thousands.
Thousands before you got one.
Oh, well, before I got my first job?
No, each
or
time.
Just any job?
Yeah, any
well,
time.
It varied. If you were going out for commercials, as you know, I was a big commercial actor.
Yes,
I did 320, mostly national commercials.
Yes.
Many famous ones.
And you had one of them.
Like Great Poupon.
Grand Poupon, yeah.
Very famous. and several others. The Sugar Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger one was a big one, and there were a lot of them. When you auditioned for commercials, it was very difficult. The odds were slim.
Really?
So
I thought it would be easier for commercials.
Well, but there were a lot of people, so you'd have 50 guys up for this role. Tom Selleck, all these big, who then became big stars, and you were all my competitors, and it was tough. But if you went out 10 to 15 times, you might get a callback. A callback doesn't mean you have the job. It means it's a callback, and then you have to get through that. Then you get the job. So I'd say 1 in 20 interviews to get a job in most things.
How did you handle rejection?
Rejection?
Yeah, how did you handle that? I mean, this is very difficult. It is difficult.
Esther, I'll tell you something, and you hit a key. That's a good question, because that is the key to show business.
Yes.
If you can't handle rejection, well, to answer your question, I handled it quite well. Well, I did, because I didn't let things get in the way, drugs, or I didn't go off the deep end with drinking or anything like that. I stayed fairly normal because I had a normal upbringing. I had good parents and good brothers and sisters. I had a great family, and I never lost track of that in my values. Never lost track of it.
Yeah.
You can lose it very easily in Hollywood or in show business in general. It's just very difficult. And I just felt rejection was part of it. You're rejected 98% of the time. I mean, if you work a month a year in Hollywood, you're a big time worker. You're not a star, but you're working big time.
Yeah.
I did. And so the rejection was really a big part of it, and it's something you have to learn to handle, or it'll eat you up and spit you out.
How did you handle that? You say, that's fine, I don't care, because sometimes they say you're too tall, too short, whatever.
Well,
you say, forget it, I don't care, I'll just continue going. Is that how you did it? I mean,
I had a good perspective about it, and I think that it took that perspective to get me through it. But I had a good stable base too, like I said, so that helped. But I also kept myself very active. I was very athletic. I was a hunter and a fisherman, and I used to go up and shoot whitewater rivers, and I would go snow ski, and I was very active, and I rode motorcycles up in the mountains, and I was a bicyclist. I was doing cross-country biking stuff, and so I stayed very busy outside of just auditioning and being rejected, because I was rejected most of the time. And if you sat and thought about it, it would eat you up, and I knew that. My instincts said, "Hey, don't get caught up in this." Yes. And as you went year by year, and you got further into it, and you got more professional, you realize that you can't. You
don't take it personally.
No, it's not personal. Yeah. They're just saying, but they could say to you, "You come in, Esther, and you come in audition for a part," and they reject you, and you say to your agent, "So, well, why? Did you have any idea?" "Well, your eyes were the wrong color, or your hair was too blonde for him, or you were too tall, or because the leading lady's short, or whatever." It had nothing to do with your talent.
Yes, that's what people should know. That's what people should think about.
Oh, it's not. Talent's great, but I would say the majority of it is timing. Is timing, and being at the right place at the right time, and who you know. There's a lot of talented people in Hollywood and New York that never ever do anything. They're very talented, more talented than me, but they just don't have that ability to get there at the right place at the right time and be seen by the right people and be auditioning for the right parts. It can just be sheer luck. Yeah, and I can use, there's a lot of examples of that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's
like what?
Quite a few. Well, there's a lot of people I knew through the years that they just got lucky at the right time. They just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and they caught somebody, maybe they hired somebody to star in a movie, and they rejected it, so they went to plan B or C, and that B or C actor ends up becoming a big star because the movie becomes a big hit. Yeah. And it's just a timing thing, and they...
Just luck, too. It's like 50-50, isn't it? Like 50% luck and 50% talent.
Well, I would say it's more luck and timing. It's because timing's everything. And then talent is maybe 25% of it. There's a lot of not very talented people that work constantly and do a lot of work. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that I've seen through the years that did a lot of work and had a very difficult time with their acting, the aspects of acting, but they got away with it because they were, maybe tall and good looking. But Tom Selleck was a great guy, a friend of mine, and a very nice guy.
Yeah.
But Tom had this high voice, and he talked like this, and they couldn't get him to talk in a lower register.
I never knew that.
But he was 6'3.5", almost my height. I'm 6'4", but he had that face, good-looking guy. I mean, handsome man, with that mustache, and just the nicest guy in the world. But he wasn't that broad as an actor. He just wasn't. But they were determined to get him a series, and he did 9 pilots before he got the Magnum that made him famous.
Yeah, Magnum.
He said, Craig, I'm the king of unsold pilots. That's what he told me. And I said, hey, at least you're going up for him. I'm not, my agents aren't even calling me for him. So, it was one of those things. But it's, you just have to keep your wits about you and try and put yourself in the right position and get showcase shows, stage plays, whatever, to showcase yourself like I did. And being in the Fantastics got me my contract with Paramount Pictures. That got my career going. That was absolutely the key day when I auditioned for that show and got the part. That was really the beginning of it. And I luckily I was a musical performer, so I could sing and dance and act. I was an actor, singer, dancer. I didn't dance that well. I danced with my beautiful wife quite well, but we're swing dancers. So, but on stage, it's more choreographed, theatrical dancing. And I wasn't the best at that, but I could move and I could sing and dance. So I ended up doing a lot of that. And that gave me a breadth of talent that I could fall back on. I mean, I was on the road with Ann Miller as her leading man. People, your audience probably remembers Ann Miller, famous tap dancer at MGM. Yes. And, I was on the road with Ann. So, I mean, I had that ability to flex. I wasn't just a TV actor or a movie actor or a commercial actor.
I saw all the skills that you had. Oh, my God. I mean, you jumped out of a plane. I mean,
yeah, I was a skydiver.
You had so many skills.
Yeah, well,
you have to have it to get the part, huh?
Well, especially commercially.
Yeah.
Because commercials are little 1-minute films or half-minute films, and they do a lot of 1 minutes. And you had to have a lot of talents, like you had to be able to play tennis, golf.
Yes.
I didn't have to skydive, but I happened to have skydived. So, but I played football and I played basketball and I could play baseball and I was a golfer and I could do all these things. So when the commercials came up and they said, we need a tall actor that's a golfer or something, well, I could put on my golf stuff and come up with that, that swing. And
whatever they needed.
And I did it. And it was a great help commercially, which was a huge part of my career. It's where I made probably a majority of my living. Residuals are great.
At the Super Bowl, huh?
I was on the Super Bowl.
You had
my commercials that I did Super Bowl. I think I did about 8 of them.
Wow.
That went on the Super Bowl.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years through the years. I ended up on the Super Bowl with whatever commercials. Grey Poupon was one I think was on.
Yes.
Tony the Tiger I think was on.
I remember years ago I saw you, but I didn't know I'm going to end up meeting you. Grey Poupon.
Right.
I remember this commercial.
And Grey Poupon, of course, as you know, became iconic. I mean,
yes,
Johnny Carson was doing jokes on it. The newspapers were doing cartoons about it.
Yes.
My daughters went to Wayne's World, and Wayne's World was that famous young people's movie.
Yes, those two,
Yeah, and they pull up and go, ha, 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 would you have any Grey Poupon? Ha, ha, ha. Well, my daughters were in the audience with me and going, oh my gosh, Dad, you're famous. Because I did a commercial. Olivia, my young daughter, called me one day, and your husband loved this. He calls me one day, and she says, Daddy, she was like 7, 8 or something. you're on a boat commercial. And I said, well, honey, I never did a boat commercial. I don't recall a boat commercial. Boat? She said, yeah, it's a boat that's sailing along and they're singing about a love boat. I said, oh no, honey, that's Love Boat, the series that I did about 4 or 5 of.
Yeah.
And so it was cute. My daughters had a fun time with it. Their friends all knew that, and they knew I was in Blazing Saddles, which is their favorite film.
Yeah, let's talk about Blazing Saddles. How did you get the part in Blazing Saddles?
Good question. Cleavon Little was the star of it, as your audience probably knows, and he was a friend of mine. Yeah. And he had gone to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, where I went after me, but he went there, and so we were friends. And he was on the set, and they were doing the shoot of the movie. It was called Black Bart. And he calls me up and says, hey, Craig, he says, Mel Brooks is looking for a Gary Cooper type cowboy guy. And I told him, you're perfect for it, because I did a lot of cowboys. I was a cowboy as a young man, as you know. Really? Yeah, I worked on a ranch for years. And so I was a good rider. I was good with guns. And he said, he wants a tall Gary Cooper type guy, and I recommended you, and he wants you to come in and meet him. So I go in on the set of Black Bart, which later became Blazing Saddles, at Warner Brothers, and I walk on the set, and here's this really just, totally bizarre scene. Mel Brooks was in, that I can't even tell you the scene because they cut it. They cut part of it out. It was pretty blue. And I'm sitting there behind the camera, and Cleavon's with me in his white outfit, and Mel Brooks is on there with Harvey Korman doing this scene, and I'm going, Cleavon, what is this movie? It's like really bizarre. Anyway, Mel Brooks finished the scene and came off, and he says, Mel, this is Craig Littler, a friend of mine. Mel Brooks looks, he said, hi, Craig, good to meet you. And he looks at me up and down, and he goes, you're perfect for it. Go to wardrobe.
You didn't have to read anything?
Nah. That was my audition for one of the most famous movies that was ever filmed. And I went, okay. And I went to wardrobe, and about a week later, I showed up in the set and for 3 or 4 days. And I just had that, I had a fairly small role in the movie, but, still another iconic movie. Yes. And I was Tex. Yes. And the scenes with Madeline Kahn, a cowboy at the front of the stage with a 10-gallon black hat and a cigar in my mouth, and she comes up and says, pardon me, she says, you in tech show business? And I said, no. She says, well, get your effing feet off the stage. It's one of those things, your friggin' feet off the stage. And that's
was it part of the movie? No, was it a part?
Yeah, it's part of the movie. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's what she says. And she kicks my feet off the stage and says, you in show business? And I go, nope. And she's up singing with the German soldiers up there in that scene in the bar. Yes. So it was fun. It was great fun. And being on the set with Harvey Korman and with all those phenomenal comedy actors and everything, it was hilarious. What went on the set, in the wardrobe and makeup and all that, you had to be there to do that. Was the fun part.
Really? Why?
It was hysterical. Well, it was just hysterical. They would pull pranks on each other and jokes, and they would do stuff. Harvey Korman, but he can't keep a straight face.
Oh, yes.
He would walk into a scene with Mel Brooks. They'd have to shoot it 20 times because Harvey would walk in and say, boss, boss. And Mel Brooks would go cross-eyed at him, and he'd go, and he'd start laughing. Cut. Harvey, you need a minute? No, I'm good. And of course, he'd walk right back in and do the same thing and just break up. It was hysterical. But all of them were really good. And a couple of guys on the movie were friends of mine, so I had a good time with that. It was fun to
Let's see, you did Dallas, huh? That was a big one, too.
Dallas, yeah. I did Dallas with Bobby Ewing.
Yeah.
Bobby and...
it was big in the 70s or the 80s? I don't remember.
Yeah. I can't remember the years myself, but they ran for a long time.
Yes.
I did it near the end, really. Mm-hmm. And I played a senator in a scene they shot in Century City. Actually.
Yes.
And I played a senator that was having some conflict with him, about how they were handling money and all this stuff, and they were trying to work us senators for special rights, and and we weren't going to play the game. It was one of those types of things, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a great time. It was a good show.
So what TV show were you on that was the longest running for you?
Well, that was Jason of Star Command. Jason of Star Command was an outer space show I was Jason, and it was on CBS.
Yeah.
And it was a kid's show, actually, at Saturday mornings. And it ran for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ran for 3 years. So I shot that every summer for about 2 months, 3 months. I can't remember how long we shot. And I do 24 episodes, I think. They were short episodes, and we had a great time. We had a lot of fun with the show, and it ran for 3 years. I shot it for 2, and it ran for 3, and that was my longest running. The only series I really did as the star of a series. I did, a lot of other TV shows that were series shows, of course, Dukes of Hazzard and Laverne and Shirley. Laverne and Shirley was a wonderful show.
Oh,
that was one of my best shows.
Really?
Wonderful. Working with Penny Marshall, and I was her boyfriend in it, and it was the New Year's Eve show. Yeah,
yes, you saw it. Yes. It's so funny. You really hit her hard, didn't you?
Yeah. It was, well, you just saw a little excerpt of it. I was on the whole show, and it was really a lot of fun. We had a great time, and it was live audience. Had 3 cameras like you have here, but we had a live audience, so it was like stage, but filming a stage play, and we had live audience reaction. I forgot how many hundreds of people there at Paramount, and it was just a blast to do. I had so much fun doing her boyfriend. Hey, Lavoine, how you doing? It was just one of those real goomba type of young guys. Hey, I'm punching her, and she's punching me, and I'm going, hey, it was fun. We had a little bit of a good time with it.
You did the Love Boat. How was the set in Love Boat? I mean, was it like a real boat? I mean, what was the set like?
Well, it had the facade of the boat. It had the gangway, the entrance to it. It was built on a big, huge sound stage out in 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
And it had the levels, and it had the levels, and you could see the rails and all that. And it was a wonderful. It was a great set, and Jack Jones constantly singing the Love Boat, promises open for everyone. The love. It was.
I think we saw him here in Laguna.
I just saw him.
Yes, we saw him. Yes.
I almost yelled out, "Jack, sing Love Boat." He never did.
I know he never did. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I saw you there at the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a chance to go to the Academy Awards?
I didn't, and I had a chance to do it. I had to be a member of the Academy, and I had a producer, George Schenck, that I did 5 movies with.
Yeah.
And he was the famous Aubrey Schenck, the Schenck family, one of the originators of Hollywood. And he was going to sponsor me, and I never did it. And I should have. I could have voted on all the Academy Awards. I could have gone to them. And for some reason, I just didn't. I don't know why. I got busy bringing up 2 kids and all that stuff, and
So you did stage too. You worked on stage like Growing Pain. You did Growing Pain.
Right.
You did West Side Story.
Right.
How was West Side Story? Must be a lot of dancing and everything.
Yeah.
Was it dancing there?
Yes. Oh yeah, a lot of dancing and singing, obviously. And I did that in New York.
Yeah.
I did that as a senior class play at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and we did it at a Broadway theater, 42nd Street Theater.
Yeah.
And so I did that actually on a Broadway stage, which was really great fun. And then I did Growing Pains years later at the Westwood Playhouse in Los Angeles, in Westwood. And I starred in that with 3 other people. And it was a comedy. A musical comedy, and again, dancing and singing. And that was the last play I actually did.
This is the last play you did?
Yeah, it was the last stage play that I actually did. And then, of course, I did the Tonight shows, as you know, with Jay Leno 7, 8 times. So,
Jay Leno, huh? Wow.
Yeah, I did the Tonight Show many times. I did Abraham Lincoln. They used to make me up as Lincoln, and I have pictures of it. I look amazingly like Abe Lincoln because I'm the same height. I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
I've got the same physiognomy and the same body type. And I did that on his show, I think 3 times. I played senators. I played all these different parts. It was a lot of fun.
Do you remember the last job that you did?
Well, the last job I did was last year. I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did a director's reel for a commercial director, a friend of my daughter's, and he does Harley Davidson motorcycles on. He asked me to come up and do his director's reel, to be on his director's reel that he presents to people.
Yeah.
So that was the last thing I did. But before that was they did a remake of Great Poupon.
Yes.
And they asked me to do the remake. This was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
And they asked me to do the remake, and I played a golfer actually in it.
Yes.
And so I didn't do the original part that I did, but I did have a part in it. And that was probably the last national thing I did about 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow, that's very, very interesting.
But I've sort of retired. I mean, my agents called last week. They wanted me to go up. My wife would tell you, I went up, I was going to go up and I didn't. And that was my last chance to really, I've decided to sort of like give it up.
It's it, if somebody comes to you and wants you being a part in some movie, you would say no?
Oh, no, if they came to me and said, would you, absolutely, I'd jump, I'd get in that car and head for Hollywood in a second. I would love to work again. I thought about doing stuff in the woods here.
Yes.
And, you know, I may at some point, but I would, professionally, if they asked me, they said, Craig, we want you to do a part or do, absolutely, I'd do it in a second.
It's in your blood.
I
you
love
that.
Oh, it's my life. 57 years I've been an actor, and it's hard to give it up.
Wow.
I told my wife the other day, it's really difficult to deal with this. But
I know what you mean.
I hate giving it up. But
I know what you mean.
You know.
So don't think it's like giving it up. I mean, if something comes along, you know, maybe.
Oh, I do it.
Never say
they
never.
called me. They wouldn't even have to pay me, but don't tell them.
So how many agents did you have over the years? Did you have the same agent or many agents?
I had several, but I had commercial agents, theatrical agents, and equity agents, theater, stage.
Yeah.
So I had commercial 3 or 4 and probably 5 or 6 theatrical, but I held them for many years. So, yeah.
Wow.
And so I had a good time, you know.
Is there anything we didn't talk about?
Oh, I don't
Let's
think
see.
so. I think we covered most everything.
Everything.
But you know, there were.
You did. What did you do? Rocky. Okay. Well, you had a little thing with Rocky Mountain fever tick. I mean, tick fever.
Rocky Mountain tick fever. Oh, well, that was
Was it because of?
That was during my career.
You were
it was
alligator. How about before we go? Can you tell us about you wrestling with an alligator?
I wrestled an alligator at McKee Jungle Gardens in Vero Beach, Florida, and I was working there, and I didn't do it on purpose. And we gigged one and caught him, threw a gig in his throat to pull him out of the pond because he was in our ponds killing ducks. And he hit me with his tail, 4.5 feet long, and knocked me down. I was lying next to him. And he's trying to bite me, so I've got him by the leg and the snout, and we're wrestling and flipping over. And I'm like 18, and I'm like, holy my gosh, whatever. And we got a noose around his snout, and we put him in the alligator pit, and he's still there, I think. They live forever, you know. So they're sort of like me, prehistoric.
Wow, we're running out of time.
Yeah, well, but
we covered almost everything. Almost.
It's been great, right?
Yeah.
I've probably got another 100 stories, but I don't think your audience wants to hear all that. But thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was. Good to see you again, Esther.
Good to see you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching, and next time we'll have another interesting guest.